Why would I ever have kids with someone like you? My fiancée told me in front of everyone. I ended things on the spot and said, thanks for making this easy. She said I was dramatic, demanded an apology. By the weekend, her secret plans exploded for everyone to see. Hey Reddit! My ex thought she could wreck my life after I walked away from her public meltdown. Turns out, she had no idea who she was dealing with. Before all the fake complaints, drama. Let me start from the top. I'm Jack Mercer, 33. Run K-9 Search and Rescue here in Benton County. Before that, 6 years Army K-9 unit. Now it's mostly flood calls, missing hikers, the occasional lost kid out near the trails. My partner's a German shepherd named Shadow, smartest dog I've ever worked with. We train 3 days a week, answer calls at any hour, and do fundraisers like tonight to keep the center running. Until a few hours ago, I was engaged to Vanessa Cole. She's 30, works in tech marketing, always polished, always on a schedule. Big into appearances, social media, shaking hands with the right people. We met 2 years back when her company sponsored new GPS collars for our dogs. She liked the uniform back then. Engagement came last winter. Wedding was set for September. That's canceled now. The fundraiser tonight was at the rec center gym, the first weekend of August. Whole town turned out. Donors, council members. One guy running for alderman handing out flyers. Vanessa worked the front table with her perfect hair and her practiced smile, taking donations like she was hosting a talk show. Me, I was running point with Dan, my team lead. Rosa handled the dogs. Maya Carter, freelance documentary filmmaker, filmed interviews from the corner. She kept out of the way, camera quiet, no spotlight stuff. First hour went smooth. Shadow did a search demo, found the lost hiker volunteer in under 2 minutes. Crowd clapped, kids cheered, donors smiled at each other like they'd personally trained him. I gave the short speech. Thank you for coming. Here's what we do. Here's where the money goes. Maya filmed it, I think. Then this older donor in a brown jacket comes up during the silent auction break. Friendly guy. He shakes my hand, tells me he respects the work, asks how long Vanessa and I have been together. I tell him 2 years. He grins and says, so when do we get little ones running around? You'd make a great dad. I smiled. Maybe someday. That's it. Just small talk. Vanessa's standing right next to me holding one of those clipboards. She laughs. Not a normal laugh. A short, sharp one. Then she says, loud enough for everyone at the table. Kids? With your job? Jack, I'm not signing up to raise someone else's mutts or risk having my own with those priorities. Or those genes. Whole place went quiet. Even the dog stopped barking. The donor muttered something about checking the dessert table and walked off like his shoes were on fire. Dan froze halfway through eating a cookie. Rosa looked like she swallowed her tongue. I just looked at Vanessa. She didn't look sorry. She looked irritated, like I'd made her say it. So I nodded once and said, thanks for making this easy. She frowned. What's that supposed to mean? It means the engagement's over, I said. Normal voice, no yelling. I don't do public disrespect. Grab your things when you want. Locks change tonight. I picked up Shadow's leash, told Dan I'd be outside for the next demo, and walked out calm. Behind me, people started whispering. Vanessa's manager trotted over, hissing something about stress and bad timing. Maya lowered her camera and didn't film any of it. Respect for that. Outside, the air was cold enough to sting. Shadow jumped into the truck bed like nothing happened. I ran him through the demo course while someone inside announced raffle winners over the PA. Same routine as always. Search, signal, reward. My hands knew the motions even if my head was sorting through what just happened. After the last run, Dan came out. You good, man? Yeah. We done here? He nodded. I'll finish cleanup. Go handle your stuff. I drove home with the window cracked, Shadow's ears in the wind. No calls, no music. Straight to work when I got there. Pulled her dresser stuff into boxes, all the bathroom shelves, laptop charger she always left in the kitchen. Put it all in the guest room, closed the door, changed the smart lock code, deleted her profile off the Wi-Fi. Her car wasn't there yet. Fine. Shadow dropped on his bed with a groan. I sat at the table, boots still on, scrolling my phone. 3 texts from Vanessa. You embarrassed me. We'll talk when you calm down. You're being dramatic. Didn't answer. Took screenshots. Uploaded them to my drive. Habit from the army. By 10, she still hadn't shown. Maybe at her sister's. Maybe a hotel. Don't care. Made coffee. Scheduled a locksmith for the morning. Opened the fundraiser receipts on my laptop. Silent auction did well. Kennel funds fine. Dogs will eat. Shadow wagged his tail in his sleep. I scratched his ears and told him we'd run at sunrise. Big day tomorrow. Baker Skakro 4. The locksmith showed up at 7 a.m. sharp, Older guy, didn't care about drama, swapped the cylinders while I held the door and signed the form. Vanessa's car wasn't in the driveway when he left. No call, no note. I had a list to get through. Remove her profiles from the streaming accounts. Call the bank to unlink the joint card we used for groceries. Screenshot every text she sent the last 24 hours. Pull the engagement ring receipt from my glove box, put it in a file. Wipe her fingerprint access from the garage keypad. Took an hour, tops. People act like breakups require speeches and tears. Truth is, half of it is just passwords and paperwork. By 9, I was on the trail behind the house. 2 miles through the pines, across the creek, back up the ridge. Crisp air, steady rhythm. Clears the head better than talking ever does. Back home, I made eggs while checking messages. Dan texted, "Fundraiser counts in. We cleared enough for the new kennels. You good?" I sent back. "Fine. We on for training at noon?" He replied with a thumbs up. Vanessa showed up around 10 while I was getting gear in the truck. First words out of her mouth weren't hi or thanks for packing my stuff. "You had no right to change the locks," she snapped, arms crossed like she was scolding a kid. I leaned on the doorframe. "Your things are boxed in the guest room. Pick up by appointment only. You're not walking in whenever you feel like it." I stepped aside and let her in under my eye. Front door only, no wandering. She glared like I'd stolen something. "Some of that furniture's mine. Take what's yours." "Don't touch what isn't," I said. She walked through the living room making comments under her breath. "I picked this rug. I made this place look decent." Stuff like that. She tried claiming the coffee table I bought 2 years before we met. I pulled the receipt from the box folder and handed it to her. End of conversation. She left with 2 boxes and a look like she wanted a fight but didn't get one. At noon, I headed to the center for drills. Routine keeps things straight. People think you process this stuff with feelings. I process it with schedules. The center sits on 3 acres outside town. Fenced runs, a training field, one prefab office that shakes when the wind picks up. We ran scent drills first. Dan set up hides around the property. A jacket behind the shed, keys near the gate, phone in the bleachers. Every find was clean, fast. At lunch, we visited the elementary school for the safety demo. Kids lined the fence, loud as sirens. The lost hiker drill lasted 30 seconds before the hidden kid got found. Whole playground cheered. Moments like that remind me why we do this. Back at the center, Maya stopped by. Camera bag over her shoulder, notebook in hand. "Got time for a short interview?" she asked. 15 minutes, I said. We sat on the bench outside while she asked the usual questions. How I got into K9 work, toughest call, what the fundraiser money's for. Straightforward stuff, no fishing for gossip. At the end, she said, "I was filming near the auction table that night. Didn't get the personal part. Didn't feel right." "Appreciated," I said. She scrolled her phone once. "People online are saying the center's under investigation." I snorted. "Investigation by who? Facebook?" She smiled slightly. "Thought you should know." "Let them talk," I said. "We've got inspection reports posted on the website. Truth's there." She nodded, packed her camera, and left without more questions. That afternoon, day 3, Vanessa came back for more boxes. Brought her sister this time. Walked in like she owned the place, making little digs about how empty it feels now. And good luck finding someone who puts up with your attitude. I stayed by the door. "You done?" "Almost," she said, stuffing toiletries into a bag. "You still have the ring?" "I want it back." "Not how that works," I said flatly. "Ring goes back with the receipt. Lawyer can sort it." She gave me this dramatic stare like we were in a movie. Unbelievable. "Yeah," I said. "Whole situation is." She left again, heels clicking down the walkway like she wanted the whole street to hear. By evening, the house was quiet. Last of her things gone except a coat she forgot in the closet. I set it by the door for next time, if there was one. Later, I checked the neighborhood group online. Someone posted about hearing things at the center. Anonymous account, same one from before. I typed nothing. Just added it to the folder with everything else. Texts, receipts, screenshots. Paper trail growing by the day. Tomorrow would bring more noise. It always does. Day 3, Monday morning. A white city truck pulled into the lot while we were setting up drills. 2 inspectors stepped out. Clipboards, reflective vests, neutral faces. One introduced himself as Miller, the other as Sanchez. Said they were here for a routine follow-up on 2 anonymous complaints filed yesterday. "Complaints about what?" I asked. "Noise violations and possible mishandling of animals," Miller said, reading off his sheet like he didn't write it. Dan raised his eyebrows at me. Rosa muttered something under her breath. "All right," I said. "Let's walk through whatever you need." They followed me through the kennels, training field, storage sheds. I unlocked every door, Showed them feed logs, vet records, signed inspection reports from last quarter. Everything neat, date stamped, nothing to hide. Sanchez flipped pages on her clipboard. These complaints say you had unsupervised dogs in an unsecured area. Date listed doesn't match anything in your activity logs. I handed her the security camera screenshot from that day. Time, location, full coverage, dogs supervised, gates locked. She nodded once. Okay. It took 40 minutes. By the end, Miller was almost apologetic. We'll file our report. Everything looks fine here. Appreciate it, I said. Send me a copy for our records. And they left. Dan leaned against the gate. Wonder who sent that garbage. I didn't answer. My phone buzzed before I could say anything else. Rosa pointed at the screen. You're on the news. Local blog, headline in big bold letters. Questions raised about rescue center practices. The article had exactly zero new information. Claimed sources reported safety concerns, linked to old photos from before we even built the new kennels, ran a 3-year-old picture of me at a flood scene with the caption, Handler under scrutiny. The whole thing read like somebody wanted smoke without fire. Comment section was the usual circus. Half the people were defending us. The other half acting like we were running some underground dogfight ring. Dan threw his hat on the bench. We answering this crap? No, I said. Not online. He frowned. Feels wrong to let it sit. Feels wrong to feed trolls, I said. We stick to facts. Everything else is noise. I opened a new folder on my laptop right then. Inspections and complaints. Dropped in the last 3 state reports. Vet vaccination logs, adoption paperwork, photos of every clean kennel we had. Started a timeline document. Dates, who visited, what they saw, results. If this turned into a circus, I wanted receipts stacked high enough to block the sun. Rosa came over holding her phone. You see this? Different angle now. Someone on a neighborhood forum claiming they heard dogs crying all night near the center. We don't have a residence within half a mile, and the poster's own profile put them about 2 miles away. Anonymous account, Rosa said. Brand new profile. I kept typing. Same person filing complaints, probably. An hour later, my buddy Connor from City Hall called. Works in records. Said their IT desk pulled the portal logs. Complaints filed from a public IP used at a co-working space. Same time window Theo flagged. Vanessa rents an office there. Not proof, not nothing either. I told him thanks, saved the note in the folder, went back to work. By afternoon, the blog updated their post with a blurry screenshot of 2 inspectors walking across our lot. Caption, ongoing investigation into rescue center. Investigation, my ass. Dan paced behind me. We should blast the inspection reports on our page. Shut this down. Not yet, I said. One post looks defensive. We wait until we have full documentation. He threw his hands up. Feels like letting them win. They win if we look rattled, I said. We keep our heads. Truth's boring, but it lasts longer. Maya showed up around 3 to drop off interview footage. Found me sorting paperwork into stacks on the office table. Vet logs, vaccination cards, training attendance sheets. She looked around at the binders and manila folders. This what scandal looks like? She asked. I smirked. Riveting, huh? She set her camera bag down. Your center runs cleaner records than most hospitals. I filmed a guy labeling food bowls with masking tape earlier. Real criminal empire here. Don't leak that, I said. Might ruin our street cred. She laughed, then got serious. You want me to cut a short piece? Show people the routine stuff? It's not flashy, but it shuts down rumors. Later, I said. Let's stack facts first, then maybe. She leaned against the doorframe watching me scan inspection reports into PDFs. You always this calm? Helps with search calls, I said. Panicked people miss details. She nodded like she got it. By closing time, we had 2 full binders labeled, digital copies saved in 3 places, chain of custody sheets signed for every single dog on site. Boring, airtight, exactly how I like it. Rosa locked the gates. Dan muttered about idiots on the internet all the way to his truck. Me, I drove home, made dinner, and added 1 more line to the timeline. Doc, day 3, 2 anonymous complaints filed. Inspection passed today. Blog posts garbage. Evidence folder growing. Facts first. Noise later. The call came in at 3:17 p.m. County Dispatch. Sudden flash flood on the south side, near the mobile home park by the creek. Rising water, people stuck, access roads already washing out. Dan relayed it to the team while Rosa grabbed gear bags. I loaded the ropes, throw lines, first aid kit, the waterproof vests. Rain was already hammering the roof like gravel. We rolled out in 2 trucks and the trailer. Sirens from fire units echoed somewhere up the highway. When we hit the south side, the road looked like someone had poured a river across it. Water up to the bumpers on two sedans half swamped in the ditch. A crowd of residents stood on the higher ground near the gas station, shouting toward the park. Fire captain waved us over. Two seniors in a van, east lot, he said. Water rising fast. Kids stuck on a porch near lot 12. Roads too soft for engines. We switched to radios, split teams. Dan and Rosa took the porch. I headed for the van with one volunteer, radio tech named Kyle. The mud sucked at our boots as we waded through knee-deep water. Rain stung hard enough to feel through the jacket. The van sat tilted near a fence, water already over the hubcaps. Two faces behind the fogged windshield, older couple clutching each other. I tapped the glass. We're getting you out. Stay calm. Door wouldn't open against the current. I signaled Kyle for the pry bar. He braced himself while I shoved from the outside. Door gave way with a sucking sound and cold water pouring in. We've got a rope line, I told them. One at a time, slow and steady. They nodded, scared, but listening. That's all you need sometimes. People who follow instructions when things go bad. We clipped them into the harness, walked them back through the current to the high ground. Took 10 minutes, maybe less. Felt longer with the wind throwing water sideways. By the time we got them up the bank, Rosa's team was crossing back with the kid from the porch. Looked about 8, soaked through, clinging to Dan's neck like a backpack. Ambulance crews wrapped everyone in blankets. One medic checked the senior's blood pressure while another gave the kid hot cocoa from a thermos. Basic shock protocol. Maya showed up halfway through, boots on, camera under a rain cover. She stuck to the edges, filmed the rope lines, the handoffs, the practical stuff. No one posing, no one grandstanding. Just work getting done. When the last resident cleared the water, she lowered the camera. That's all I'm shooting, she said. Plenty, I told her. She nodded like she understood. Some people chase drama. Maya didn't. While fire crews packed gear, a woman in a red jacket ran up. Mid-30s, soaked hair sticking to her face. My son, she said, voice shaking. Is he okay? They said he was on the porch. I pointed to the ambulance where the kid sat sipping cocoa. He's fine. Bit cold, that's it. Medic says he's clear. She looked like someone cut the strings holding her up. Just collapsed into a crouch for a second, hands over her face. Then she stood, walked fast to the ambulance without another word. I stayed back. Some moments don't need commentary. We loaded gear into the trailer, water still running in sheets off the pavement. County trucks pulled out first, fire units next. By the time we got back to the center, the storm had dropped to a drizzle. I started drying ropes in the equipment bay when Rosa came in holding her phone. You seeing this? She showed me a clip already bouncing around online. 10 seconds of me grabbing a volunteer's vest near the van. The caption, handler shoves helper during flood rescue. I snorted. He was about to slip under the current. Doesn't look that way here, she said. Of course it didn't. The clip ended right after I yanked the guy back to his feet. No audio, no context. Just enough for people who want drama. I asked, full video exist? She nodded. Helmet cam from engine 4. Shows everything. You stopping him from face planting. Send me that, I said. She forwarded the file. I dropped it straight into the growing evidence folder on my laptop with the inspection reports, rumor screenshots, complaint records. If this was going to keep coming, I wanted every second documented. We loaded gear into the trailer as the storm slowed to drizzle. On the way back to the center, my phone lit up with 3 messages from Vanessa. Funny how the news is calling you a hero now. You always did love attention. Bet you staged half of that for cameras. I didn't answer, just added them to the growing folder of screenshots. By evening, the residents from the park were staying at the community center. Local news ran a short piece using Maya's wide shots of the rescue lines, the ambulances, the volunteers carrying gear through the rain. They didn't use the 10-second clip. I sat in the office, finishing the incident log for the county, while Dan brewed coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Think this shuts people up? He asked. Doubt it, I said. But the record stays clean. He nodded, passed me the mug, and didn't say anything else. Theo met me at the diner the next morning. We go back 15 years. He runs IT for the county hospital, knows his way around networks. No small talk, just black coffee for him, omelet for me, laptop open between the salt shaker and napkin holder. This the account hitting your center? He asked, scrolling. Yeah. Anonymous complaints. Same name keeps popping up on blogs and neighborhood forums. He tapped the screen. This Gmail account was created 4 days before the first complaint, he said. Posts and the complaint portal hits all came from the same public IP. A co-working space downtown. City IT logged the IP on the complaint portal. The timestamps line up with 3 burner social accounts. Name? I asked. He pulled up the registration log from the co-working space. Device belongs to a PR contractor. Freelance. Hired last month by Vanessa for reputation management. I leaned back, not surprised. She's paying someone to smear my center. Looks like it, Theo said. Not super careful either. Half these posts came from the same Starbucks Wi-Fi she uses. I slid my phone over. Send me copies. Timestamps, IP logs, everything you can legally give me. Already in your inbox, he said. By noon, I was at the lawyer's office with a folder full of inspection reports, rescue logs, and Theo's packet. The lawyer, Patel, flipped through it all like he was speed reading. Anonymous posts are one thing, Patel said, but filing false complaints with a government agency? That crosses into harassment and defamation if we prove intent. She hired the guy, I said. He nodded slowly. We'll start with a cease and desist to the freelancer and Vanessa. Demand takedowns, retractions, and confirmation of who directed it. If they ignore it, we escalate. Good, I said. Do it fast. Back at the center, Dan and Rosa wanted to blast everything online. Inspection reports, full rescue videos, grant records. Feels like we're getting punched and just standing here, Dan said. I shook my head. We're not rushing. One clean statement after the letter goes out. Facts only. No arguments. Rosa crossed her arms. People believe the first version they hear. Then we make the next version undeniable, I said. I spent the next hour stacking records into 3 piles. Safety inspections, training certifications, rescue logs. Scanned each set into labeled PDFs. No spin, no speeches. Just paperwork so clean it could survive a courtroom. At 4, Maya stopped by with a flash drive. Footage from the flood, she said. Full context. I plugged it in, watched the wide shot, me grabbing the volunteer's vest as his feet slid out, yanking him upright before the current took him. Clear as day. You want this public? She asked. Not yet, I said, holding everything until the letter lands. She leaned against the desk. People are running wild with the cropped version. They can run, I said. Walls close in eventually. She studied me for a second. You don't rattle easy, do you? Not my first mess, I said. She left without more questions. I appreciated that. The lawyer's letter went out the next morning. Certified mail, email copies, read receipts. Straightforward language. Cease defamatory statements, retract false claims, confirm client identity or face legal action. 10 business days to respond. Dan read it over my shoulder. You think she folds? She folds or doubles down, I said. Either way, we stack proof. 2 days later, the blog that ran the first investigation piece posted a quiet update. City inspection confirms no violations at rescue center. No headline drama this time, just 3 lines quoting the inspector's report. Somebody was spooked. Theo texted me that afternoon. Freelancer locked his accounts. Vanessa's lawyer called him yesterday. She's cleaning house. Patel smiled when I told him. Means the letter hit. While the noise slowed down, we focused on work. A regional rescue council was reviewing grant applications for new equipment. We made the shortlist weeks ago. Winning would cover thermal drones and better transport kennels. I updated the application with fresh rescue footage, full inspection records, training certifications. Let the council see the same boring, airtight proof we'd built for the lawyers. Rosa watched me scan the last log sheet. Feels like homework, she said. Homework wins grants, I told her. Vanessa finally texted on day 8. We should talk. I sent back 1 line. All communication through council. No more messages after that. Maya visited again that weekend, filmed a training session for her documentary. She caught Dan running the dogs through rubble drills. Rosa calibrating the drone camera, me checking harness straps. Real work, no commentary. Afterward, she said, You know, this is actually more interesting than the drama. Drama's loud, I said. Work lasts longer. She smiled like she agreed. By Monday, the council requested a final interview for the grant. Professional setting, board members. Nothing to do with rumors or blogs. Just results. I printed 3 binders. Rescues, training hours, safety record. Dropped them on the table like bricks. Answered every question with dates, names, documents, no speeches. One board member flipped through the inspection reports. You keep meticulous records, she said. Easier than arguing online, I said. She nodded. Meeting ended 20 minutes early. That night, Patel called. Vanessa's lawyer asked if you'd accept written retractions instead of filing suit. Written, public, and signed, I said. Then we're done. He chuckled. Thought you'd say that. Grant ceremony was Thursday night at the Civic Center. Big deal for the rescue community. Council members, donors, city reps, media, all packed into the auditorium. New equipment funding meant fewer delays on calls, better transport gear, drones for flood rescues. Our team came in uniform polos, neat but simple. Dan carried the presentation binder. Rosa brought updated footage of the flood rescue on a flash drive. Maya sat near the press table, camera ready for her documentary. We signed in, grabbed seats near the front. That's when I saw Vanessa walk in. Blue dress, heels too sharp for the carpet, arm hooked around some councilman I vaguely recognized from zoning meetings. He chaired zoning, not the grants board. Wrong room if she was fishing for influence. Dan muttered, "Oh, here we go." She spotted me instantly, smile tight as barbed wire, and came straight over like she owned the place. "Jack," she said, voice carrying, "you didn't return my messages." I looked at her, then at the councilman beside her, shifting uncomfortably. "All communication through council. You got the letter." She waved a manicured hand. "Oh, that silly thing? Lawyers make everything dramatic. I just think we should clear the air. People overreacted to a few harmless posts. False complaints filed with the city aren't harmless," I said. Her smile didn't budge. "Maybe the city should have inspected you sooner. Places like this get sloppy without oversight." Rosa stood up fast, but I shook my head. She sat back down, fuming. "Vanessa," I said evenly, "you filed fake reports to sabotage a rescue center. Elderly couple in a van last week? Kid on the porch? We were there while you were typing lies online." She rolled her eyes. "Always the hero act. Maybe if you spent less time chasing storms and more time on PR, you wouldn't need heroes." Councilman beside her cleared his throat. "Vanessa, maybe this isn't—" She cut him off. "No, people need to hear this. He acts like some saint with a dog, but he's reckless. Volunteers talk, you know, running into floodwaters like some action movie. Someone should question that." I leaned back in my chair, calm. Full rescue logs are in the council packet. Every operation cleared by incident command. If you've got evidence otherwise, produce it. Right now. She hesitated. Just a flicker, but I saw it. No evidence, just noise. I kept going. "Inspection reports? In the packet? Training certifications? Packet? Background checks on volunteers? Packet? You wanted oversight? You got it. Stacks taller than you." Dan smirked. Rosa crossed her arms, satisfied. Vanessa's smile thinned. "You think paperwork makes you untouchable? Public opinion matters, Jack. People read headlines, not reports." I shrugged. "Truth's boring, but it outlasts rumors. Council knows that. Media knows that. Even you know that." Her voice sharpened. "You should be thanking me. All this attention probably helped your grant application. Nobody cared about your little kennel project before I shook things up." Rosa started to stand again, but Dan held her arm. I looked Vanessa dead in the eye. "Elderly couple you mocked as free publicity? They're here tonight. So's the kid's mom. You want to tell them this was all to boost our profile?" That landed. She glanced toward the back where families from the flood stood talking to council members. No camera crews, no drama, just regular people who lived through it. For the first time, she shut up. Council chair walked in then, called everyone to order. Presentation time. We kept it tight. 5-minute video from the flood, incident maps, cost breakdown for new equipment. No speeches, no begging, just proof of work done right. When the board announced we'd won the grant, applause filled the room. Dan grinned. Rosa actually whooped once before clapping over her mouth. I shook hands with the council members, accepted the certificate. Maya filmed from the aisle, catching the moment the same families from the flood came up to thank the team. Vanessa hovered near the punch table, eyes sharp, like she was waiting for her turn. She got it 20 minutes later, cornering me near the exit while people mingled around us. "You really think this makes you some kind of winner?" she said low. "Grant says so," I replied. Her jaw tightened. "Enjoy it while you can. Public forgets fast." I smiled slightly. "Public saw the rescue, the records, the board vote. They forgot your stories already." Her voice rose. "You humiliated me tonight? You did that yourself," I said. She stepped closer, eyes bright with anger. "You'll regret treating me like this. People talk. Doors close. Then close them," I said evenly. "I've got work to do either way." We stood there a beat, her glaring, me calm as stone. Finally, she turned on her heel and stormed out, councilmen scrambling after her. Maya walked up after they left. "She always like that? Entitled, rude, and loud?" I said. "Pretty much." "Thought so," Maya said, lifting her camera. "Makes good contrast on film, though." Dan came over grinning. "Grant's in the bag. Equipment order goes out Monday." Good, I said. Time to get back to work. Vanessa tried one last time the following week. I was loading gear into the truck when she pulled up in a rental car, window down. Jack, 5 minutes, she said. I kept strapping the crate into the bed. Your lawyer should have told you I'm not talking outside counsel. This isn't about lawyers, she snapped. This is about you acting like some saint while dragging my name through the mud. I turned, calm as ever. You filed fake complaints. You hired someone to smear the center. You confronted me in front of a councilman. That's your name, your choices. She folded her arms. You think winning that grant makes you better than me? I was under pressure. Work's been brutal. Maybe I went too far, but you could have handled this privately. Privately? I asked. You lit fires online, sent inspectors to my gates, called reporters. That's not private. That's sabotage. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please, no real damage done. You got your little funding, your hero story. Congratulations. I met her gaze. You crossed lines you can't uncross. Personal, professional, legal. Whatever we had ended the second you went after my work. Her voice sharpened. So you're perfect? Never made mistakes? Plenty, I said. But I don't burn down other people's lives to feel better about mine. For a second, she looked like she might argue more, then just muttered something under her breath, spun on her heel, and drove off fast enough to spit gravel behind her tires. That was the last time I saw her. Life after that moved quick. The grant funds cleared in 3 weeks. We ordered 2 thermal drones, new rescue harnesses, and heated transport crates for the trucks. Dan handled the vendor calls. Rosa organized training dates. The council chair stopped by once to see the upgrades in person, impressed enough to mention future funding rounds. The Flood families visited the center too. The elderly couple brought muffins for the team. The kid from the porch came with his mom to see the dogs work the training course. No speeches, no cameras, just thanks. Maya filmed pieces of it for her documentary. She caught Rosa fitting the new harness on one of the dogs, Dan running a drone test flight over the field, me explaining the GPS tracking system to the council chair. Straight facts, no drama cuts. One night after filming, she asked, "So what happens if Vanessa starts again?" "She won't," I said. "But if she does, the record's airtight now. Too many witnesses, too much proof. Nothing sticks." Maya nodded like that was the answer she expected. Early October, about 2 months later, her documentary premiered at the community center. Not fancy. Folding chairs, popcorn machine, borrowed projector. But the place was packed. The film showed the work from start to finish. Drills, rescues, flood footage, the grant ceremony. It didn't mention Vanessa once. She didn't matter in the story that actually counted. After the credits, people clapped, some stood, council members shook hands with the team. A few local businesses offered sponsorships for future training sessions. Maya found me by the snack table. "You good with how it turned out?" "Shows the work," I said. "That's all I wanted." She smiled. "Good, because they want to submit it to the Regional Safety Expo next month." "Fine by me," I said. Around the same time, I started seeing more of Maya outside filming. Coffee after training runs, dinner at the taco place by the highway, weekend hikes where she brought her camera but barely used it. She never asked about Vanessa beyond the first conversation. Never dug for drama. Treated the whole mess like background noise, which was exactly right. One Saturday, she brought her brother to meet the dogs. Guy ran a mechanic shop, offered free labor on the trucks whenever we needed it. Real solid type. Whole family seemed that way. Normal, steady, no theatrics. After they left, Dan elbowed me. "She's good for you," he said. "Yeah," I admitted. "She is." By November, the new equipment was fully online. Drones ran weekly mapping flights. Heated crates kept transport dogs safe in winter rescues. Training attendance doubled thanks to the extra gear and space. Council invited us to present at the state conference. Not about drama, about procedure, flood response, community integration. Exactly the kind of boring, professional stuff I like. Vanessa's name never came up again. Far as I heard, she left the co-working space, took some marketing contract in another county. Fine by me. One evening after drills, Maya and I sat on the tailgate watching the sun drop behind the ridge. "You ever think about what started all this?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "And then I stop. No point living back there." She leaned back on her elbows. "You don't sound angry." "I was," I said. "Now I'm busy." She laughed softly. "Busy's good. Better than drama," I agreed. Winter came early that year. We ran 2 missing person calls in snow before December. Both found safe before midnight thanks to the new drones and upgraded comms gear. Council sent a thank you letter for the fast turnarounds. Maya filmed the last rescue of the year, a hiker stuck on an icy ridge. Quiet operation, no injuries, clean extraction before dark. When we packed up, she lowered her camera. You know, this whole thing started with chaos, she said, and it ended with everything working better than before. Guess some messes pay off, I said. She smiled. Ready for the next chapter? Yeah, I said. Think I am. And that was it. No speeches, no drama, just boundaries set, work done, and life moving forward. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.